Welcome to my deck tech. This is a deck tech for a Simic version of Electrostatic Pummeler, running um, green cards that you're used to seeing, Servant of the Conduit and Lawn-Tusk Cub, pairing out well with Pummeler, producing that energy. Lawn-Tusk Cub has the added benefit of being able to produce energy multiple times, whereas the Servant of the Conduit just come in one time. Um, Still a grizzly bear, so it's a 2/2 for 2, which is sweet. Not afraid to just, chump block, trade. Most people see a servant and they think you're going, especially if you're playing blue out on turn 1 or turn 2, that you're trying to ramp into an Aetherworks Marvel or something. I'm a lot more likely to just turn this sideways and get in for 2 damage or trade it off right. Also, being in blue, I get access to awesome cards like Rogue Refiner. Replaces itself 3/2. Just a super uncommon. Great in anything that's running blue and green. You get 2 energy. 3/2 is not to be ignored on turn 3. Super sweet card. Also running 4 copies of Shielded Aether Thief. I'm a little soft on this card. I don't know if the flash and being able to block is worth it. Granted, I am trying to play a longer game than the red green version of this Electrostatic Pummeler deck. Being able to flash it in, get an energy. Also, being an energy sink is a nice bonus because sometimes if like I don't have access to Pummeler or the Tusk Cub dies or I just run into a matchup with a whole ton of removal, he's going to take a very big spell to kill, and being able to cash in 3 energy and draw a card at times where I need it to is pretty sweet. I'm not in love with 4. I might end up cutting them all together. Right now, there's 4 of them in there. Uh, let's go ahead and move over and look at our instants and sorceries. Similar to the red-green version, we're running 4 Attune with Ether. Blossoming Defense, mostly in there to protect any creature that I want to either eat 2 removal spells instead of 1, or make sure my Pummeler doesn't just randomly die or get bounced back to my hand after I make him insanely huge. Larger than life, a throwback to the original builds of the Electrostatic Pummeler version, not the more current, just, what's the word I'm looking for? More current, just value energy builds that are just trying to build up a lot of energy, the Teamer energy build. Also, getting to be in blue, I get to run more Glimmer. I get to run Glimmer of Genius, and I'm also running 4 Negate main deck, just to be able to protect my creatures even more. Glimmer of Genius, obviously, gets me 2 energy, scry 2, draw 2. It's amazing cards. Been seeing it in many multiple Pro Tours at this point. Super awesome to be play a slower game, keep my hand full, and keep churning on. Gonna go down here and look at lands real quick. My land base, 4 Aether Hub, currently 7 Forest, 5 Islands, 2 Lumbering Falls, 3/3 Hexproof when I need it to be, is super sweet for games that just go kind of weird. 2 Botanical Sanctums. Should be more Botanical Sanctums and or Lumbering Falls, as just happens to be what I have on my MTGO account. Going into the sideboard, for the most part, I got some more cheaper counter spells to protect the Pummeler. Essence Scatter for when I'm really fighting big creatures. Being in blue-green, I don't have access to a lot of removal. The removal of choice that I have right now is the Cartouche of Strength. Good for pairing up with a Rogue Refiner and just taking down something big. Confiscation Coup, they might not see coming. I get a ton of energy built up, and I'm able to steal something reasonable size. I could steal up to an Ulamog if somehow I have 5 mana after they blow up 2 of my lands. Imperial Voyager is super sweet when it comes to just being able to fly in. You can make him huge with larger than life. Gain 6 energy from a single attack on turn 4. Really ramp you into making sure you have energy. Pima Etherseer is something to pair off well with the Pummeler. After you make the Pummeler reasonably huge, you can play out a Pima Etherseer, gain a whole bunch more energy, and just keep going. I might retool the deck to see if I can, how truly big I can make an Electrostatic Pummeler, and see how far it can go before Moto just puts a stop to it or just ceases to function. Against black decks, if I do end up going off with Electrostatic Pummeler, I'm worried about the 3 mana sorcery that can exile all of named artifacts from my deck, so I've got a backup plan in the sideboard of Dynavolt Towers, which might end up going from 2 to 4. Just as a change of pace, be able to just be a value beatdown deck with Lawn Tusk Cubs and back that up with Dynavolt Towers. Key to the City was an option. Um, my original build had that in place of Larger Than Life, but I really needed to be able to buff him up before I started doubling him down. Otherwise, it just takes a ton more energy to do. That's the deck. Here's a replay of me playing versus Game 3 versus a red-blue energy deck. I was playing. I mulled a 6. I kept this hand. Got a forest and an attune. Scry this cartouche to the bottom. It plays a slower game. My opponent does get stuck on 2 mountains here for a few turns. I'm not able to really capitalize on it too much. I'm playing a slower build of the deck. He has a ton of removal in this red-blue deck. His main payoffs are the Drake and the Serpent that gets cheaper for every instant and sorcery in his graveyard. Here I choose to play out my Voyager. Mostly to eat a removal spell or two. Opponent responds by casting Harness Lightning on it. Happy to have it target. Or a spell, means he was getting to the point of possibly having a discard if I didn't give him anything to target with his stuff. Choose to keep him around by burning one of my Blossoming Defenses. Get in, gain a couple energy. Just slowly building up my total to where when I have the game in hand and enough defense for the Pummeler to be able to stick and I know he's not going anywhere. This one I play out because I'm not too worried because I got another one in hand. Opponent casts Sweltering Suns. I had the option to be able to pump it and then double his power to make it to where the Sweltering Suns didn't kill it, but with another one in hand, I just let it go. Mostly because I wanted the Glimmer at the end of turn. Apparently I didn't Glimmer that turn. It was this turn I Glimmered. He casts a Drake here. I Glimmer in response. Choose to both keep the Blossoming Defense and the Servant of the Conduit on top. Drake's only a 2/4 at this point. I do pull a Rogue Refiner off the top, and I choose to play that out. Not too concerned with a 2/4 flyer at this time. Opponent throws a Magma Spray at it. I choose to burn my second Blossoming Defense to keep that alive. And get to draw a Cartouche's Strength. off from the triggered ability of Rogue Refiner entering the battlefield. Opponent gets his Enigma Drake up to a 5-4. Game 2 in this match, he ended up killing me with a 15-4 Enigma Drake. I really didn't want to keep him on the field, so I end up getting him my 3 damage. And then I choose to play Cartouche Strength on my Refiner to kill his Drake. Currently up to 11 energy in the pool right now. Play out my Servant and pass the turn. Quickly eaten up by another removal spell. Followed up by a Cryptic Serpent. Here I choose, because I got 2 different ways to protect my Pummeler, I choose to play him out. My opponent goes digging for more removal. Ends up playing out a second Serpent and attacking for 6. Now, normally I wouldn't pile up more damage that I really needed to actually finish off the game, but my opponent sent me a message saying, because he didn't draw his removal spells, and I still got a Dispel backup, so it would have taken more than his 1 red mana could have produced to kill it. Let's see how big this gets. Like, alright. So I go all in, casting Larger Than Life. I did hold up Blossoming Defense in case he had like a another Galvanic Bombardment or something to kill it in response if he was slow rolling that. Trying to get the game win. And then I get him up to 7. Start spending all my energy, getting him all the way up to a 224, trampling hexproof. Swing in. And put my opponent to negative 209. This deck, the main thing that it lacks over the red-green version is just clean, efficient removal. But it does have options like Dispel, Essence Scatter stuff to be able to keep the Electrostatic Pummeler alive. I like it as as you know, it's a fun, cutesy version. It's great to throw down at a kitchen table. You want to get in. You want to do a lot of math on somebody. It's like just write out an equation and put it on top of the Electrostatic Pummeler while you're attacking. Here's the exponential growth form. It's actually like a couple million damage. This one's only 224, but it can get nasty. It's just a fun build. Like I said, I'm going to keep playing with it some more, see what I can do, see how big I can really get the Pummeler. Thanks for watching. You can follow me on Twitter at GeekLukeG.